Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Hi, so I have a question in general, how we can change our federal politicians, meaning is there a way that we as the people could institute term limits for our congressmen?
Yes.
We already have term limits for governors and obviously presidents, but is there something that we can do? I mean, because they're not going to vote on it. They're not going to approve their own term limits. What can we do as people to get this changed?
Yeah, well, good question. So for those of you who can't remember learning about this in the 5th or 6th or 7th grade, give you the quick answer. There's two ways that the American people could bring forth an amendment to the Constitution. And it would take an amendment to the Constitution to actually create term limits for the United States Senate and the House of Representatives. The first is, I think you know this, Joy, a congressional proposal. So a current member of Congress on the Senate side or the House side could put forth a proposal to amend the U.S. Constitution, because this is not legislation. This is an actual amendment to the Constitution in order to get term limits. So it would take one of the 435 members of Congress, right, Senate, House, to actually put the proposal forward, and then it would take a 2/3 majority vote of both the House and the Senate to actually get this going. That's never, ever...
Just to get it going.
No, to get it through. No, the proposal, one person could do it.
To propose it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But, Joy, you're right. Those men and women up there are never going to vote to term limit themselves. The second way...
There's no way on the state level that we could say,
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Sorry, I had to give you the full picture, all right? The other way it can happen is a constitutional convention. And this is where 2/3 of the 50 states, so that would be 34 out of 50 states, could call for a constitutional convention, then propose the amendment, which would be term limits, and then the ratification process would require 3/4 or 38 out of the 50 state legislatures by conventions to vote for it. So if you said, all right, we want a term limit, so you'd have to have a majority of 34 states would all have to agree. Their House and Senate would say, all right, we're doing this convention. Then they take it to the convention, and out of the 34 states that said, yes, we should talk about it, 38, George, would have to say, vote in a majority, by the way. So Tennessee's House and Senate would have to vote for the amendment, and they would have to be with 37 other states. 38 states total, Joy, would then amend the Constitution, which, by the way, while we're talking about this, last week on the show, I proposed a balanced budget amendment. So, Joy, the answer to your question is this would have to be a groundswell, a grassroots movement where the state legislators and the governors of those states said, we probably should listen to the people of our state and we should do this. So it's going to take a massive grassroots movement, massive organized, George, grassroots movement. And Joy, that's the only way it happens. And the framers of our Constitution, by the way, they made it this difficult on purpose so that you can't just, get an angry mob together and change the Constitution. So is it difficult? Yes. Is it possible? Yes. Will it happen? Probably not.
Thanks for your vote of confidence.
Joy, listen to me. Joy, I want you to hear me say, on the record, I'm for term limits. I would propose it right now if I were in Congress. And my proposal to anybody that wants to take it to their congressman, by the way, if you want to call them, here's the proposal. 1 term in the Senate, which is 6 years, George, and 3 terms in the House, which is 6 years. Everybody gets 6 years to do damage or do good, and then you're out. So, Joy, I'm for it. I'm also for a balanced budget amendment. And I'll say this again, as I said it last week. This is a money show, and our audience is always thinking about money.
You vote with your wallet.
And I'm telling you, the balanced budget amendment would be the first thing, Joy, I would do. I would put term limits second. I would like to see the American people say, you know what? We should require the federal government to balance the budget so that we don't drain our resources, our tax dollars for debt.
I ran into Bob Latta a couple years ago and was asking him some local questions. And to be honest with you, he told me that you have to be in D.C. so long to get appointed to the right committees to make any difference.
Yeah.
That basically, even if he is there his entire career, he would just be getting to where he needs to be to make any change.
Yeah, that's absolutely
And
right.
that just left me hanging with my mouth open
I
and
know.
frankly disgusted.
Yeah,
So,
you should be. But here's the deal. We need more people to be disgusted, not with the other party and not with the other candidate, but be disgusted with both parties and their management of the resources in this nation. Because we can argue about all these social issues and all this other stuff. And by the way, where we are, I'm just going to say this while I'm on it. I'm just going to say this.
No one can stop you except for everyone in the booth.
No, here's the deal. Our political discourse in this country has now devolved on both sides to insults and accusations. When I listen to both candidates talk, I don't hear anything about a vision for the future. I don't hear it. I don't hear about a vision for let's balance the federal budget so we don't mortgage our children's futures away. What are we doing to actually make Social Security solvent today? I just don't hear it. So anyway, enough of that.
It's no solutions. It's just more fear mongering and going, life's going to be better if you vote for me.
To the spirit of Joy's question, the American people through their state government can make a huge difference. And that's how you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, I have very little faith in any of this happening in my lifetime, especially because in this situation, Ken, the very people who would lose power are the ones who vote on it in one of these solutions.
It's 100% right.
So why would they do that?
Why would you? Yeah. So, Civics 101 there, it is possible. But let's say this. We have millions upon millions of Ramsey Show listeners and viewers, YouTube, podcast, radio. I'm not saying we should do this, but if the millions and millions of people that are listening to us and watch us were to say, you know what, let's take a shot at this. Let's mobilize. Let's get after a balanced budget amendment. And let's take it to our state representatives and state senators and maybe even a governor. You know what? Would you get it done right away? Probably not. But if you got 20 states that went public and said, we're proposing a constitutional amendment, we need 14 more, you might see it happen. So I do think over a period of 2 to 6 years, you could probably get to a point where it was even possible. But this is about money. And I think the American people should be uniting around money, not social issues. Just what is the result of us being $30-some trillion in debt? That's not just it's a line item.
Well, just like we do with our personal finances, at some point the number becomes so astronomical, it becomes fake. It becomes this like monopoly money situation, and you go, well, our grandkids will deal with that, which is frightening.
But George, I'm gonna say something that you may be shocked by, but if I were to put you in the room with the Congressional Budget Office and all the committees and everything, and and I put you in a room and I said, we'll give you guys 3 square meals a day, you get 8 hours of sleep, you're back in there. I believe
we could fix it,
that you could balance the budget. Now, people are going to fight over it, but the point is you could balance the budget. You absolutely could.
Well, it's spend less than you make. It sounds that simple, but it really is that simple.
about that.
That's it.
You literally could go, well, this is like the Netflix subscription.
Yes.
We're feeding
instead of Netflix, you're like, you're sending how many billions to this country every day?
Start looking it up.
Can we cut that subscription?
Yeah.
Is that an option?
We got a new feeding program for the rare spotted owl. Okay. Love the spotted owl, but they're not as important as my kids. Cut it, George. Cut it.
The spotted owl folks would like to have a word with you, Ken.
You see my point?
Yeah.
But what would you say to the person who would fight you over the Netflix subscription?
Oh, my gosh.
You'd say cut it, would you not?
Well, we have to agree on the goal. If the goal is to spend less money, now we got to go, where are we going to cut it?
All right. See? You come at
That's
it from
where
a
the fights
financial standpoint, then George Campbell's the hero.
I'm in.
I love it. We'll see if we can get George elected.
Get the government on an every dollar budget. It's time.
Right.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.